So put the lid on for you.
Table 4 for that one, sir.
Got a little loose for you. There you go, mate.
Thanks, mate. So it was table 4.
Left to the shot, and then around the outside of Woods down the Esplanade. That was pretty brilliant. Of course, Craig Woods is one of his teammates at Western Sydney Motorsport. About 47 cars in this series, so maybe a little bit of help was arranged beforehand. That's why it's a team sport.
Yeah, that jet ski's pretty quick.
Awesome. Is this your first day at the track, or have you been here for the last couple of days? Yeah, okay. So my name's Yuri. I've been, I don't know, has anyone done a pit tour with me before we were here last year?
I did here before.
Okay. I was taught the same shit.
Yeah, that's alright, yeah.
He's on recording.
Are you really? Oh, cool. Single, Melbourne-based. You're going to put this up on the internet? I've only been with the team for 3 years, so supercars is relatively new to me. Motorsport isn't though, so my background in motorsport, which is still what I currently do, is I own and operate Honda's motorcycle programs. So we have our own race team, and this is a weekend off. So this is still quite a new experience for me. I'm learning every time I come to the track. But yeah, my background in motorsport is two wheels. It's quite a complex form of motorsport, and what people don't realise, and I was one of them watching it on TV, is that the governance within the sport that's there to create parity, and the control that's put into the category also creates disparity, makes it difficult at times. So I'm going to try and give you an overview, like a holistic overview of the sport, to give you a better understanding why there are inconsistencies in results, and why some drivers will win one weekend, finish 10th the other weekend, and teams move forward and backwards. Particularly Holden teams have moved backwards a little bit this year from the Ford teams. So the control that's in place with the category is the chassis, so the cradle that everything gets bolted to. All 24 cars are identical. The brakes, the brake calipers, the gearbox, the transaxle, the ECU, for those of you who don't know what an ECU is, the brains of the car, literally tells the car how high it can rev, how much fuel is allowed to be spurted in and out. That's all controlled. So much control, in fact, that supercars control it. They can come in at the end of any particular session that we're out on track, or even at a test session, and plug into our ECU to get information out of it. The horsepower is basically capped. We're looking about 550 horsepower, roughly the same in kilowatts, just a little bit different, 0.98 per horsepower. But all the cars, it's again identical. So whilst you would think if Ferrari came into the field, they would be of a greater asset to a team because some would assume that their motors would be faster, that's completely incorrect. When you hear a driver talk about chasing speed, the first thing that we all think about is he's looking for horsepower. I mean, that's what we put speed down to, is out and out acceleration. Speed in this game, and most forms of motorsport, is the ability to get grip, maintain grip, not lose grip. We saw in that session there, if you were watching on TV, I think it was Stanaway, it was either Stanaway or Golding, one of the boost cars, lost traction and hit the side of a wall. That's primarily what we're trying to avoid. So drivers will tend to slow down and not drive the car to where they'd like to drive it because it's running out of grip. They've found the edge of traction. And that's what we're chasing all weekend. That's what all teams are chasing. Who has the best grip? Who can drive the car the best under acceleration, under brakes, under steering? And that pretty well comes down to chassis setup, suspension setup, the geometry of the car. Now, whilst aero is controlled per model of manufacturer of car, all the Holdens should be running exactly the same paneling. All the Fords will run the same paneling, the Nissan will run the same paneling. It's again another homologated part. Supercars have to approve the part. Why the Fords seem to be at an advantage this year, well, people, unless you really watch it religiously, the testing that's done by supercars is straight line. So it's not done under brakes, it's not done coming out of a corner, mid-corner. It's all done in straight line, again, to ensure that a car isn't that much faster than the other car in a straight line. That's changing for next year after what occurred this year. And you saw that a lot of the Holden teams and the Nissan were caught with their pants down. But in saying that, whether Brad Jones, who's my boss in this team, would be standing here or not, Scott McLaughlin is by far a clear winner. He won in last year's Ford. So we've got to appreciate how special he is in a car. But looking at it from the back end, what people don't appreciate is how different the cars are due to their suspension. And that's what we're chasing. We're gesticulating, if you want to call it that, non-stop from the moment we get to the track to try and figure out how to give the car more grip. Now, unless you guys own Timken or were born with the golden spoon, we've all driven shitbox cars, even rental cars that we may or may not have taken advantage of. When you accelerate the rear squats, generally speaking, under a normal street car with normal production suspension, the front becomes light. We've all been hoons where we go to power and we want to turn left and the car drifts right from the front. Multiply that at the speeds these guys are going and they're going to hit a wall. So they back off. I come from a background where my dad drove a taxi and I would complain that my bike didn't have a power pipe or we didn't have a new tyre or new gearing or we didn't have all those things that we could change, and my dad would always say, well, you've got a throttle and you've got a brake, you learn to use that a bit better and you'll go faster. When I came into this category, and I suppose again I was ignorant, but I would say to a couple of the guys that I've known well, particularly as Honda ambassadors, there's no women here, I'd be like, fuck, just give it a go. Just 2 or 3 tenths, just go the, yeah, just that. Do you need a bit through? Just give it that little bit more. Like, we're talking out here between, I think first and I think Percat was 15th. Between first and 15th, I think it's 6 tenths. And a minute 10 lap time. So to be like, fuck, brake that little bit later, accelerate that bit harder. It can't be that hard. Like you've got enough corners to do that in. Like you have no idea, mate. It's not road racing, which I've raced and ran the Honda Superbike team. It's not motocross. You can't just brake that bit later and accelerate. You brake a little bit later, 2 meters later, only 2 meters, and you're struggling to pull up for the wall. And when you look at how close they get to the wall and they're ripping mirrors off the car, they're telling the truth. That car doesn't want to go any faster. If they try and push it any faster, they're going to crash. The other thing that people don't see on TV is, fuck, I walked straight out of the garage just then, and this team knows. I get pretty angry, and don't take this out of context. My team's going off 5 straight championships, so we're not performing here. And then people will look at Nick getting 15th. Then, sorry guys, I got distracted. Sorry, you appreciate that. Yeah, look at Nick getting 15th. Then it was a strategy call. We let him out of the pit 1.5 minutes too early. So when he came around, he hit traffic. But no one sees that, so it'll be like, fucking he drove shit then. But it was just, we're talking tenths. We let him out 1.5 minutes too early. We brought him in early to make a suspension change. Our call was to let him out quickly, and it backfired. And there you go from someone that should be in the top 5 or 6 to 15th. And from 5th to 15th creates even more problems. You've got more cars to pass, more people in front of you that could make a mistake. So much more shit going on the racetrack that people probably don't identify with, other than like following our football teams. Oh, they did shit this weekend, that player did shit this weekend. And the reality of it is, in this case, whilst the driver's the face of every race team, you got 49 or 50 staff controlling what's happening at the back end, and Nick came in and, well, you don't want to have been in the pits. And I think his engineer was just standing there like, okay, I know I'm about to get yelled at. I'm just waiting for it. He got yelled at. So we only get 7 sets of tyres per car. Seems like a lot. It's not when we're out on track 9 times. And we're throwing tyres at qualifying. So we're constantly using used tyres. Hopefully they last and they're better than what we want. The lifespan of optimum performance in a tyre, believe it or not, is 1.5 laps. Then they plateau off a little bit. Why do they plateau off? It's pretty simple. Think of it as a balloon. So much heat's being transferred into the tyre. Whilst they've got like a, I don't think it's, oh, there's a set of new ones there. Obviously they haven't been worn at all. A little bit of extra film on the top makes that little bit of difference, but the primary difference is optimum tyre pressure. So heat transfers into the tyre whilst we use nitrogen. There's no moisture in nitrogen. It still rises. And in the case of 2 or 3 laps, it could go up 5, 10 psi depending on the heat of the track. By the end of the session, in a race, let's say it's gone up, say 15, 20 psi. Imagine a balloon going up that much, and it's pretty much how the tyre changes shape. So it goes off.
What pressure do you run at?
We have to run a minimum 17 psi. So we would like to run less in hot conditions because it ramps up really quickly, but we can't, and there are sensors in the tyre, and Supercars see exactly what we're running. Exactly what we're running. Excuse me 1 second. Hey mate. Not much yourself? Yeah, where is he?
Sensor.
Yeah.
I'll be at the back of the pit in about 5 minutes. And
Yeah, good.
Cheers, mate. Sorry, guys. Let's go through.
Handy first lap for it too, as he comes around to complete lap number 1. Going down to the box.
Sensors on the car that we're reading in live time. Not all of them make a difference to help make the car better, but a lot of them do. The greatest tool that it's called diagnostic tool, that the data acquisition system, the MOTEC system in the car provides, in my mind, understanding data analytics, is it's a lie detector. We can determine if we're full of shit with what we're putting in the car, or the driver's full of shit with what he's telling us about the car. We can see where the driver's putting his brake on, how long he holds his brake for. When he let go of his brake, he transitions to the throttle. How much throttle does he open up? When does he take his foot off the throttle? What gear is he in? How long is he holding the gear for? We can determine the steering angle of the car, how quickly the wheels are spinning. Are the wheels spinning off the ground? We can determine how much tyre pressure is in there. If you have a look over here, these are all the tyre pressures on every given lap. Why do they go down? It's gone down negative 12.3. Tyres have come in, we've let them down before they go back out again. A lot of shit going on at the back end that people don't see, the majority of them they do. You can see how much fuel is used per lap. That'll determine when we need to bring someone in a race. The temperature of everything, we can determine if someone's about to blow up, because they're not cheap. So, tyre pressures. We can tell how hot our driver is. If he's getting too hot, we know something's wrong with him. Tyre temperature. There's so much that we're learning, seeing about the car while we're out on track. Chassis I was talking to you about. Cradle, and all 24 cradles are identical. The seat you'll see when you have a look in here is recessed over to the middle slightly. A lot more than what it originally was. Again, it's a preventive measure to stop drivers from getting hit in the side. We had 2 injuries in the last 5 years with Holdsworth and Mustard. This is supposed to offer leg protection. You see this little knob down here? It's brake bias. It's the only thing that, and roll bar height, which you can see, have a look there, it's a pump system that we can change. That's all we change in the car, or the driver can change in real time. We can't change anything back here either. So if the car needs to come in to get changes, it has to come in. We can't do it out on track. The steering wheel is pretty basic. Stick your head in and have a look. Looks complex when you see all of the lights and buttons. They race cars for a living. So one button is to give him a drink, another button is to press for his fan, another button is when you see the car come into the pits going do 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 do. It cuts the ignition, cuts the timing and the rev limit. And on the left there is an ice box. The ice box, again, is just a tool used to keep the driver cool. Plugged into the cool suit, radiates cool water through the cool suit, plugged into the back of the helmet, and there's a fan that goes to the feet. It'll get around 50 to 65 degrees in the car with no air conditioning, depending on the outside temperature. Have a look.
motor in a motorbike motor.
Ryan, how many pistons per caliper? 6.
the 22 years we've been in motorsport, we've never kept any car, any supercar, no Formula Ford, Formula Holden, no go-karts, no anything. So Todd's trying to run 5,000 different cars in Super 2 like we always do, and I'm trying to say that one car at least needs to roll off the track today and get put in the shed somewhere. But we've already had that discussion, and they're like, yeah, well, we need the seat for the car, we need the engine, we need the gearbox, and I'm sure enough they're going to need the chassis, so I'll be left with pretty much nothing. But that's the plan. We want to try and put a couple in Super 2, transfer one Mustang, build a new Mustang, and then roll one into the shed.
Well, he's very busy. Rick's got to get ready for the next race. Also got to build a couple of Mustangs. Please thank Rick Kelly. And I'll move on to Frosty very quickly. Frosty, for yourself, you racked up race 500 yesterday. Do you feel old yet?
I felt like I had a really good number until you said he's 550. So now I feel like I've got a bit of work to do, but it's cool. All the statisticians, they tell you about it. We don't sit there going, this is 501, it's 502, but when they put it in perspective, I got told I'm the 7th person ever to hit 500. That's really cool, because in our sport, you sort of, you reference yourself off some of the greats, and you know, there's only a few that have hit 500, and to be part of that club's quite good, but I'd rather be standing here saying I've won my 500 championship or 500 race, because competing...
Be 11 million years old if you had that.
Well, look, I'm not a statistician, I'm from Doonside, leave me alone. But, no, it's and actually if you want spray painting on cars, we can look after your Optimus down in Doonside. I've got a few mates who can sort those cars out for you. Be on bricks, don't worry about your wheels, so we'll be right. But no, it's great. It's a great start. I love the sport. We still turn up every day, hungry as ever. You know, but your situations change. I'm in a team now that's in a massive building phase, trying to get that team to the top, and you've got to have a different mindset of how you get there. It doesn't happen overnight, you know, the path that you take. So it's always something different happens over all those 500 races, and yeah, love what I do. Love racing with Charlie, and hopefully there's a few more to come.
You touched on it there, you grew up in Doonside. Did you ever come up to Newey as a kid? Did you ever think you'd be racing on these streets?
Yeah, I used to come up a little bit. We raced go-karts. It used to be at the end of the freeway then, but then the freeway now goes all the way through to Cairns, so it used to be at the end of the freeway, but yeah, I used to race go-karts in Newcastle literally once every couple of months. Come and stay in town, and yeah, used to come up and do a bit. I think fun.
That wasn't a euphemism. There used to be a nightclub here in Newcastle.
I wasn't looking at that when I was 14 racing go-karts. I don't know what you're into, mate, but I'm sure it exists, and I'm sure you had a great time. But at 14, I raced go-karts and went home and ate me dinner. I don't know what you were doing there, but it's fun.
Everyone had a good night in Newcastle when they were 14.
Apparently you did. But maybe we'll go to Fanny's tonight when we get a good result.
Is that a euphemism? No, I'm kidding.
I'm running with it. Everyone seems to like it, so let's run with it. Rick's been there.
This got real weird real quick. We're sorry, people. But mate, it is final race of the year this year. Where do you rate your first year in a Holden?
We're 13th best. That's sort of where we are in the position. We're building. We need to come next year and be in a better position. So learn a lot. Sometimes we've been our biggest competitor, just with things that we've done. But you have to make mistakes to learn, and that's kind of what this year's been about. So yeah, one car will multiply to two next year. Charlie's team's getting bigger. Good things coming on the horizon. So yeah, this year's been tough, but it's all in preparation for next year. So finish on a high. I qualified 20th. We absolutely messed it up, but I got 3 grid positions across the penalties, so I'm already moving forward. I haven't even hit the track, so today is going to be a good day.
All right, on that, we've got to let the guys go. Can you please thank Rick Kelly and Mark Winterbottom?
I don't
Oh, the premium meat on the grid. Wave, Magga. That's the way, mate.
Twice now it's been in that shootout, and really strong. It's all about support for each other. How was it?
Excellent.
Did you get any photos of the pit girls?
Yeah. I got to wrestle a few. I had my hands free.
Yes and no. I'm a realist. Yes, I do, but I'm a realist to know that that's probably the only.
Yeah, I'm a bit that way now that I don't really care if I don't ever do it, you know?
Yeah.
I ride a lot of adventure bikes and ride jet skis. They're the sort of things that I get me buzz off, but I don't get any compete.
Yeah, fair enough. Jet skis, you say?
Yeah.
You go out there or you go somewhere?
Yeah, we had our buddy a couple the first year.
Right.
And then jet ski here, but we had it here in Newcastle for a while.
Yeah.
Now it's up in the Bay.
From Palm Springs, reporting for Embassy Sports of America. 20 seconds to the start of the 31st.